So I want to thank you all for joining us today for our second Influencer Insight Chat, Cultivating Mentor Relationships. We're really excited about this Rising Stars group, and we're even more excited about all of your involvement and feedback that you guys have given us over the past couple months. And this topic actually came from you all, so we're even more excited about that. Mentor relationships and how to cultivate them was something that all of you have really sparked interest in and asked us questions about. So we thought today that we would talk about that topic, and we have Gina Krahulik from the NACWAA staff joining us, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about just those relationships, how to cultivate them, what you can be doing now, and what you can be doing in the future. So I just want to, just some brief little tips. We will be posting this video after the chat later today, along with any notes and follow-ups. And we want to remind you all that if you have any questions during the chat today, please hashtag NACWAA Stars, or you can post some questions on the Google Plus page. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll toss it over to Gina for a brief intro. I just want to let you all know that Gina Krahulik is our Director of Education and Leadership, and she's been with us since July of 2013. So with that, I'll go ahead and toss it over to Gina.
Press unmute. Okay. All right. Hi, NACWAA Nation. I'm Gina Krahulik, as Katasha said, Director of Leadership and Education here with NACWAA, and I'm very excited to be a part of this Google Hangout today and hang out with all the wonderful rising stars within our NACWAA world. I know our last Hangout we focused on, Patty was a guest speaker, we focused on maximizing professional development opportunities. And today we're going to be shifting that. So you've met some people either at conventions or conferences, and now you're looking to really build upon those relationships and make sure that you have something really meaningful with them. And for me, this is actually a really great discussion point, as relationships are one of my main values within my work life, my professional life, and my personal life. So I'm very excited to share some insights with you today. And really, you know, mentoring is such a hot topic right now, and you know, people are so, you know, I've got to get a mentor, I need a mentor. And really, I want to challenge you to think about those people in your life that you currently look up to, that you want to model after. So think about if it's a professor that you had in your undergraduate or master's career, or it's a coach if you were a student athlete, or you know, it's your supervisor or a past supervisor. So think about those people that you really respected within your world, and those people that saw the best in you and really helped you see the best in yourself. And those people that you really want to continue to cultivate a relationship with. So we're going to really think about that and how you can continue to build a mentor relationship with them, and how you can continue to keep that relationship alive. And there's 4 different areas in which I want to focus on for cultivating those relationships. The first is set expectations for the relationships. And especially if it's a former boss, a former coach, former professor, and you may not have current communication with them, so you want to go back and say, hey, you know, I'm really interested in continuing our relationship, to continue to have it grow. You know, can we continue to have a conversation? So again, setting those expectations for them. And you really need to think about, how often are you communicating with this person? Is it something that you want to do monthly? Is it something that you want to do quarterly? It's really up to you to set that and to maintain that. You are the one in charge of making sure this relationship continues, so you have to make sure that you commit to the month, the quarter, whenever the communication is occurring. Also, think about who's responsible for setting up the meetings, and that is you. So whenever you're doing that, think about, you know, is that person in Eastern time zone, but I'm in Central time zone? And I've made this mistake several times before, where I'm under the assumption that everybody's in Central time zone. Not the case. So whenever you are setting up those meetings, just make sure that you are being aware of what the time zone is, so you can make sure that you're meeting at the appropriate time. Also, whenever you're first setting up the expectation with your mentor, with this person you're wanting to build the relationship with, think about the best method of communication. And this could be something that you definitely ask them. Whether they are email, best way to contact them is email, phone, text. Just make sure that you are setting that up from the very get-go. And then also be respectful of whatever they say that their best method of communication is. So if they say, you know, best way to get a hold of me is via text, great. But definitely don't be texting them at 2 in the morning. You're like, oh, I have a great idea. I just need to talk to them about it. Save that maybe for 10 a.m. or at a more appropriate time to connect with that person. So again, the first piece of cultivating a great relationship is setting those expectations. The second is articulating your goals from the beginning. The clearer you can be with what you're hoping to gain from this relationship, the easier it will be for them to help you. So whether it is, I really want to develop public speaking skills, and I want this person to help me develop those, or I really want to make sure that I'm connecting with other people within my community. This person might be able to, connect you with different influencers within the community. Just make sure that you're upfront and you can articulate those goals from the very beginning. Also, you'll want to ask for input and not lead with, I want a job. This is something that, I want you to be very aware about. This relationship could definitely lead to a job, and that's great if it does. But authentic relationships, you just want to make sure that you're careful and you're not just using this person to get a job. Again, you're using them for their insight, for perspective, for helping you grow. Again, if a job comes out of that, awesome. That is wonderful. But just don't lead with that from the very beginning. So we talked about setting expectations for the relationship and then articulating goals from the very beginning. The third area is communication. Communication is key. And really, whenever you're working with this person, their time very valuable. So you want to make sure that you are listening very attentively to what they're having to say. So, whenever you're meeting with them, if it's, on the phone, make sure that you close your email, close down anything that could be a distraction when you're trying to listen to them. Or if you're meeting in person with them, put your cell phone away. Or, in a coffee shop, make sure that you're sitting in an area where you can just focus on them and not on other distractions around you. So again, make sure that you're very attentive to listening to them. If it's helpful, taking notes throughout the conversation, or you might also, if taking notes is too distracting for you, take notes following the conversation, so then you can make sure that you really get those specific things. So then, in 5 days when you're thinking about it, you can come back to those notes and really make sure that you're getting what you need to from it. Also, this is just a point for you to consider for the communication piece. If your person that you're building a relationship with says something that you're not so sure about, it's counter to what you think, ask them for clarification. It's definitely okay to ask why they think that way. It could just be a misinterpretation on your part, not understanding where they're coming from communication-wise, or it could be an opportunity for you to grow because they're challenging one of your thoughts. So again, just be open to what they're sharing with you. Also, be mindful that this is a professional relationship and not a venting session with your bestie. You want to set up those professional boundaries with this person and just really maintain those. Again, this will help you grow, help you develop within your own skill sets. Save the venting, the complaining for people within other circles. The final area in which you can cultivate a really great relationship is expressing gratitude. This is something your person that you're spending time with is investing time in you. They want to see you excel. They want to celebrate with you. They want to make sure that you are also celebrating together, acknowledging those moments along the way. So celebrate those accomplishments together. Make sure that you share with them not only the big goals, but the small goals that you hit as you get to that point. And remember to say thank you. If that's a written email, if it's a handwritten note, if it's a text, whatever it is, just remember to say thank you and express that gratitude. I think that cannot be said enough. Obviously, this person is impacting your life and in your world, and it's important for them to know how you feel about them. So just make sure that you're expressing that gratitude. So again, those 4 different areas for cultivating great relationships. 1 is set expectations from the very get-go. 2, articulate goals for building that mentor relationship. 3, be a great communicator. And then 4, express gratitude and follow up appropriately. All right, Katasha, those are my main 4 points. I'm open to any questions that our rising stars might have.
Gina, that was great, and thank you so much. Really, those 4 points really encompass everything that really has to do with cultivating a mentor relationship, and just kind of how to go about getting them and how to really flourish them in an authentic way. Your one point about articulating your goals from the beginning, I think, is really crucial, and I would love for you to elaborate a little more on how a mentee can clearly identify their goals in a mentor relationship prior to engaging in that, and then how they can ensure that those goals are being met throughout that relationship.
Great question. Thank you, Katasha. And really, this is something, for me personally, I assess my goals every quarter. I always start off the big new year with my big reach goals for the year, and then weekly I'm checking in to make sure that I'm working toward those, and then again reassessing quarterly throughout the year. And my best advice for setting goals for yourself, really the different areas in which you can focus on: financial goals, professional goals, personal goals, really just thinking about those areas. So if you want to focus on your professional goals, so what is it that you are wanting to obtain? Is it, haven't updated my resume in such a long time. I really would love to have a mentor's perspective on, how to highlight and bullet different things that have been accomplishments within my internships, within my graduate assistantships, within my professional career. Or, it could be too, I haven't updated my LinkedIn profile, and it would really be beneficial for me to have another professional look at that and help me articulate again on LinkedIn how to express my accomplishments. So again, thinking about those professional goals, and writing those down, again, assessing quarterly. Again, you just need to look in those different areas and what it is that you really want to achieve within those areas, and then working with your mentor to kind of help facilitate an action plan in order to make those happen. I think you do, again, just need to be specific with them. And really, you don't have to have your mentor help you in all of your goals, in all areas. I think you can just really zone in. And this, it's different to every relationship, but the mentor actually might want to help you. If it is, I want to run a 5K, they could help you and push you because, they might also have that goal. So again, it doesn't only have to be the professional goals that you share with them. It can be, health goals or, social goals, whatever it is. But it would definitely lead with what professional goals you would like their help with.
Great, thank you. So another question we have has to do with kind of our last Influencer Insight Chat was about maximizing professional development opportunities. So kind of building off that and those authentic relationships that you can form at events like that, how can you go about taking certain people that you meet authentically and building that relationship further into a mentor relationship? And you kind of touched on the fact about making sure you want to seek out people who are honest, and you don't always want a mentor that's exactly like you, so you want someone that will push you. So what are some of your tips or advice on finding mentors in that way that can help you?
And, so thinking back on maximizing professional development opportunities, I would suggest and encourage people, if you're in a session and one of the speakers really said some key points that really stuck with you, or you were sitting next to someone and again you're having a conversation and they said some things that really resonated with you, I would encourage you to reach out to those people. It's the people that you can find points that have inspired you, that have challenged you, that really you're like, oh, I really want to connect with that person. Reach out to those people and really at the professional development opportunities, definitely go and introduce yourself. Say, I was really intrigued and touched by this point that you made. Thank you. And then I would encourage you to follow up and email and say, again, I got to see this presentation. I really appreciated XYZ points. I would really like to have a follow-up conversation with you on the phone if time allows. And that could be an easy way to just really start to cultivate that relationship. And I think we've said this plenty of times in the NACWAA world before, but I discourage people going up to you and directly saying, I want you to be my mentor. I think that mentor relationships really do happen organically. Again, it's with the people that you really connect with, that really speak to you, and there is some commonality there. this person doesn't have to look like you, they don't have the same career as you, but maybe they just made a point that really stuck with you that you're like, I want to know more about that. So it's those folks that make comments that, again, that challenge you, that inspire you, that encourage you, that you want to connect with. And even for me, whenever I'm reading an article or I'm reading somebody's blog, all of those times that I'm interested in what they've said, or I'm really inspired by what they've put out, I'll follow up with those folks and say, I really appreciated this, thank you. And if it's to the point where I know I want to have another conversation with them, then I will say, let's set up a phone call. I'd really like to hear you discuss this more, and I have these questions for you. Just be very intentional with what you're hoping to build with this person.
That is great. Thank you, Gina. So anyone, I'm just going to throw this out there again. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet us with the hashtag NACWAStars, and we'll try to get your question answered. So Gina, the next question I have for you is, you kind of talked a little bit about mentors saying something that can stick with you. So I just wanted to ask you personally, what's a mentor relationship that you've had that's really stuck out to you over the years, and how did that really help influence you in your career?
Yeah, probably the person that I reach out to the most, we met in 2006, and she happened to be my supervisor's supervisor. And really, she just stood out to me as someone who was courageous in her career, who had authority, and she just had the charisma that I wanted to emulate, that I wanted to see how can I make that come out in myself. And I have to share, it took me 2 years to feel comfortable with her. And during that time, we're getting to know one another. But really, it wasn't until in 2008 did we really intentionally, start meeting on a regular, frequent basis for our relationship to grow. And so it takes time. And also, I wasn't as intentional with the relationship at that time because, again, it just grew and flourished into our mentor relationship. And so for me, that's how my mentor relationship has worked. I know there's mentor programs like the NACWAA mentor program that you can definitely be connected with. People right from the start, you have a really great connection. But when I think about my mentors in my life, they have been relationships that have formed over time, and they've been with people who, inspire me, who, challenge me to be better, to be risky, and that's probably the best help that my mentors have given me, is to push myself and find ways in order to really get outside my comfort zone, because being in your comfort zone feels so good, but your mentors really help you get outside of that and to continue to push yourself and make you better. So that's what I've really appreciated about my mentors. And again, they've been relationships that have just evolved over time, and they've changed, we've moved, we've had different positions, and we've been with each other through the entire time. So I've been very appreciative of the people in my life who have always been supportive of me and of my career, and really continue to do so. So I like my mentors.
We love that. So we have a great question that came through from Amanda Brungs, and she wanted to know, what are some great ways and tips to maintain a mentor relationship with someone who's not in close proximity to you?
Yep, and that's actually a really good question, Amanda. Thank you for asking that. And especially with the NACWAA culture, we are a national organization that support women across the entire country. So oftentimes whenever you come to our events, you're going to meet someone who's not going to be 5 blocks down the road. And I would just say this would be something where the ball's really in your court and you are in charge of maintaining that relationship. And again, you're going to have to understand that your relationship's mainly going to be email, phone. You can Skype. I mean, obviously, there's really great ways to connect with someone who's not physically in your space. So I would just, and again, the whole point about setting expectations from the very beginning, talk with that person that you want to continue that relationship with, who might, live in North Dakota. Talk with them about what's the best way to communicate with them. I want to communicate with you once a month or quarterly. Again, just making sure that you really commit yourself to whatever the timeline framework is. It can happen. I mean, to be honest with you, I have 3 mentors who are not within Kansas City, and we continue to talk to each other, and it works. You just have to, again, commit yourself to maintaining and building a really strong, great relationship with that person.
Great. Well, thank you for that, Gina. And I think that's all the questions we have for today. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. And I want to thank you all again for your time, taking time out of your morning to join us for this Influencer Inside Chat with Gina. And we're so thankful that she was able to share her insights with us. Obviously, mentoring is a hot topic. And it's great to kind of get different perspectives from different people to kind of really understand how to cultivate those relationships and how to make them flourish. So Gina, we want to thank you again for sharing your time and expertise with us today. Once again, as a reminder, we will send out notes later this afternoon following the chat, and then the chat will also be posted on YouTube later today. So we'll make sure that we send that all out to you. And just some last-minute NACWAA wrap-ups, I wanted to let you all know that our women's leadership applications will be opening up February 2nd. So if you have not attended women's leadership, or you know people that have not that should, feel free to pass out that link, because we'd love to get as many people to that as possible. And that will be in Baltimore in May this year. So go ahead and check out NACWAA.org for those applications. And once again, I want to thank you all for sharing your morning with us. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And we hope to hear from you all soon. Have a great day.